loses service. So we'll call the meeting to order at 9:04. I see in attendance Jim Bell, Eddie Ration, Paul Tolley, Bill Walbert, Michael Chen, Stuart as an advisor is on, Leon, Joe. I don't know if John DiFederico, I see a couple of numbers here, so I'm not sure if they're on. Kevin Moynihan is on. And Andrew, I don't know if he's calling in as well. I see the police department, IT department, so we'll figure that out later. So we'll call the meeting to order. Johnny said there were no public comments.
That is correct. I've received no public comments.
All right, perfect. Did you guys all get the meeting minutes from November 11th? Any comments or corrections? Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Jim, thank you. Second, Penny? All those in favor? Aye. General business.
Can I approve, Bill? Can I approve even though I was absent for that meeting?
Well, I've heard two things on that too, but then again, I was wrong about having quorums and having meetings. So I know some people don't. I know Amy last time didn't vote to approve minutes last time.
I always abstain
Yeah.
if I wasn't there.
Abstain, that's the best thing.
Yeah.
So I'll abstain then, Bill.
All right. Thank you. General business. Before we get next steps, I'll put in the meeting schedule for next year. The one general business comment I wanted to make is, right now we're really focused on helping town bodies make the decision about what to build going forward before they give us a project that we can then deliver to them. But I want us to feel very good and comfortable about the quality of the numbers that we have been presented by our architect, Brian Humes, from a cost basis, from a cost estimate basis, and just feel that the data that we've presented is pretty tight, and so that the people making these decisions have the numbers in front of them that they can use and feel comfortable with to help make that decision. We have the Board of Finance meeting coming up on the 14th, and I'd certainly wouldn't mind if you building committee members there to, obviously Amy will be there, I would think, but to be there to help answer any questions that the Board of Finance may have as they go through a discussion potentially for the police station options. So I would just, like I said, hope that some of us can be there. Were there any other general business comments that people wanted to bring up?
Bill, well, if you're going to talk in terms of if you're going to talk in terms of financial numbers, the two numbers that still have a meaningful impact or could be considered to have a meaningful impact on the project would be if in fact the town has gotten any estimate of the value of the existing building as it is, and something that the Board of Finance could rely on. And the second number is, once the building, assuming for a second that it was sold outright, that there was a tenant or an owner that would pay taxes, and the impact to the tax revenues to the town of Canaan.
Yep. I think those are valid discussions or valid questions. Of course, when it comes to a broker's estimate of what that building could go for or sell for, a lot depends. Of course, there are no numbers unless they have a comfortable feeling of what they can do with that parcel and that land, and that has to do with things that are out of our control or anyone's control. I'm a former salesman. I think some of us are, and when you want to get a number and you want to get some business, you're not going to give them a low number. So, I just don't want to put that number in the same category, what that thing could be worth, in the same category as a cost estimator's analysis of what a build as new solution would, or refurbish as new solution would cost. Because I think one number has a little higher probability than the other number. But that's maybe splitting hairs a little bit.
Hey, Bill,
Yes, sir.
I think you're out of scope. I mean, the questions about selling the current building is not a building committee matter. It's
Absolutely right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is. It's nothing that we're. It's nothing that we're charged with. I was just responding to Stuart's comments about numbers that are available to for analysis. That's all. So, Michael Morrow, welcome.
He's there on mute.
Okay, good. So we went from no quorum to.
Hi, guys. Sorry,
Hey.
I'm here. I have to keep you on audio.
That's
No,
okay.
we got it. We got it.
The key question really isn't so much the value of the building, Stuart. It's the value of the current site as a public safety site. The building is problematic, and everybody would have to know that. I mean, you can't project what somebody might get in 2, 3, 4 years very accurately. So accuracy on that is, I think, just a question, just a big question mark. You can get an estimate, but not an accurate number.
yeah, Jim. Unless you had a hard offer, I mean that would have changed. That would be
Yes.
a game. So,
Yes.
Yes. Very
Then
true.
Then I think the real issue has to come back down to the point that was debated at some length at the town council meeting, and that is that irrespective of what happens to that site is firmly established as a public safety site, and there is no other site in town that is established as a public safety site other than the police building, the fire department building.
So, Mike, as the town council.
Well, I understand, Jim, your perspective, and I think you're fairly partial to that site.
Mhm.
Well, I am for a practical reason. Having worked there as an EMT, being an EMS commissioner, you put another residence on there with cars coming and going around there and trying to make improve the ingress, egress, and the operational facility of the ambulance corps. It'll be very difficult. And you have to say we have about 40 to 50 volunteers provide outstanding service in this town,
Yeah.
and it would be a big disservice to impinge on them.
Mhm.
Yep.
No, the town
And
council.
There's
the
another
cost
perspective that
to
could
the
be
town
had,
if you
that's
can't
all.
continue it.
Now, the town council did discuss this at their last meeting, I believe. And Mike, I don't know, Mauro, I don't know if you'll be able to comment on that, or if you have to keep us on mute because you have other things going on or not. But Jim, you were also at the town council meeting, I believe. And I believe, and I did talk to Steve Carl about what was, the sense of the sense of the town council, right? It was not a formal vote, but a sense of the town council was taken, I believe. And the town council, Jim, do you want to?
I think it was unanimous. It was a straw vote and they voted unanimously.
Yeah. So they
Yeah,
voted,
but this is Mike. It was a straw poll vote that
Yes.
to express our support that it stay in place.
so it was not a formal vote. It was a sense of the town council.
Right.
That it stay in place. And I think you had another discussion about potentially moving the police force out or keeping them in for the for potential construction. And if it was done on that site, I believe the town council sense was they would prefer to move the police department out.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. And as far as build as refurbish as new, sticking with the current site, refurbish as new or tear down and build new, did the town council discuss that at all?
Yeah, so we did discuss that. Right now we're still just trying to get our understanding of the cost between build as new versus just rip down and rebuild. I don't know what the general sense is one way or the other on that, where the town council is leading. I think it's more of a continue to collect and gather information before a decision could be made. But of
Mhm.
course, everyone's always looking to be careful with the dollars that we're spending. So that's where the debate lies at this time.
Thank you, Michael.
Bill, did we get, or is there any update on, in terms of a pistol range? Mike, was there any discussion or feeling from the town council as a straw opinion on having that facility for the police? I mean, either through a joint effort that's a firm deal with another town, or through building our own?
Yeah, I think the opinions vary just a little bit. I think the preference would be to, if we can make it happen and have our own training facility here rather than have to rely on a joint cooperation agreement with another town. I mean, my preference is we have our own training facility. But again, it's the cost factor. I think the estimates I saw ranged from like $2 to $3 million. I could be wrong about that if we included in our facility. But I think the preference is to have one, but if the cost may outweigh, not wanting to have to cooperate with another town. I think that's kind of where it stands right at this time.
So is there any update that we've gotten about potential facility with a neighboring town that could actually meet the needs of our police force? Or is
Kevin?
that still?
I'll be getting an update. I'll be getting an update next week. Ridgefield and Wilton are continuing to talk, and I'll meet with them next week.
Thank you, Kevin. So really, we continue to be, in a pattern waiting for the elected officials to appropriately take some, serious time here to decide what they want to do. It's all appropriate. Sometimes you can't substitute time just to make sure that everyone in the community that isn't watching all this, and thinking about it every day is also.
Hey, Bill?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. As you know, I'm on the Board of Finance
Yes.
with Amy. What are you or Kevin looking for us to talk about next Tuesday? Are you looking for a vote? Are you looking for just a straw poll? What is the goal?
Yeah, I'm not sure it's going to be on the agenda next week for Board of Finance. I don't,
Okay, so you're not ready. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not going to be on the Board of Finance agenda for.
I don't know
next
that
week. You're not ready.
Todd and I haven't talked further about the agenda, but I don't think we're in a position next week to be making decisions in December. We got a lot more work to do on several issues. So.
Okay, got it.
So when you guys publish the agenda, obviously the building committee will just keep an eye on it. If we're on the agenda, we'll be there. If we're not on the agenda, we may not choose to be there. So, okay. Next steps. The only thing I put out there was the meetings for next year, and which basically keep it the same dates we've been doing so far. Obviously, if town bodies need us to meet or study something else, if they bring up other questions that they would like us to go to in a little more detail, we will have the flexibility, obviously, to meet on and call special meetings. Is everyone okay with the meeting schedule going forward?
Well, Bill, just one thing, as you know, I have a full-time job and 9 a.m. is a bad time generally in the morning for me. I could make more meetings at 8 a.m., but it's hit or miss for me at 9 a.m. So it's not like I don't like to go to these meetings. It just, I usually can't make 9 a.m. meetings because I have a lot of meetings at 9 a.m.
I think I'd vote for 8 a.m. for a variety of reasons. Also, Thursday mornings aren't my best morning, but I'd vote for 8 a.m. also.
How do the rest of you
That
guys
would
feel?
work great.
You guys feel better with 8? All right.
That's fine.
All right.
But that's where we ended up on Saks. I think you tend to
Yeah.
get more people. I mean,
Yes.
it's not my preference, but I think that's good. And then Michael, the only thing I would say is that, I think there's sort of an honest, through all the discussions we've had about where the police building should be, I think there is sort of a split opinion among people in town. So, and we've been at we haven't been able to do anything moving forward one or the other for a while on it. So I think if the town bodies, when they come up with a consensus, I think that's what we need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We need to get something done for the police. Their building's falling apart. Construction costs are going up. And so if you, I hope that the Board of Finance discusses it and starts pushing it forward, because we've done sort of as much as we can at this point, you know, on the building committee, and we'd like to get working on this important project.
Yep, no, I understand. So I guess Kevin and Todd will be talking on whether it's going to be on the agenda for this month or next month. And then reading the agenda minutes from last time, it seems like we don't have unanimity on renovating versus building new, right? So, but the consensus is to renovate in place. Is that correct?
That's correct, but we're certainly not unanimous on that. Paul Tolley certainly, I believe, is for a tear down and build new, as is Paul Foley. So currently, as far as I know.
Are we waiting? I'm just trying to understand something to play off Penny's point. Are we waiting for any more information on build as new versus, you know, completely rebuild, just on those two options? Is there any outstanding information we're waiting for? When I say we, I mean at the building committee.
No,
We
it's-
had, I don't think so. We had the one option that, you know, Jim, that you talked about with our architect a bit, which would be a new building with a, you know, instead of a shooting range out back as an independent building up on the third floor, but that one was not, we haven't priced that out completely. That one did not seem to get a lot of popular support.
But your assessment was right. If we got a decision from the town to go ahead and use that site, then we could proceed. We're not waiting for anything else other than a decision by the town.
Right.
Right, and I think the decision from the town could be, you know, it could be a bifurcated decision. It could be, we want to stay where we are, give us some more information about build new versus renovate. And then we could get going on that as well. So, I mean, you don't have to decide on the two.
Right,
But
and
you could decide on the site before deciding on building new versus renovating in place.
so, okay, that's helpful. But what
And I
about
think there was one other idea that is maybe germinated but not yet been discussed in any great open forum of any kind, which might be that you maintain the four walls of the red brick building, the pre-existing school building, but only the four red brick walls, and everything behind that gets torn down and rebuilt on the same footprint, with the hopes that perhaps you could put a firing range underneath that footprint.
But that still could be done. There's no point in pursuing that much further till the decision is made on the site, and that could be done as soon as that's made.
Right, but the question, Jim, was are there any other numbers that we'd be interested in receiving? And that would be an interesting number to receive. And that could be done, started, you know, immediately if anybody was interested in further exploring it.
The number is going to fall someplace in the middle, obviously, between the two existing numbers. So
Yeah, that would be my guess too, Jim, and therefore might be a consideration for the Board of Finance.
yeah, well, if it gets to the point that the Board of Finance wants to discuss it, we can certainly do that. It doesn't take at this point, I don't think it's worth getting a precise number on it, because it's going to be someplace between 30 to 60% higher than the renovate price. Could be 30%, could be 40 or 50, but it's not going to be the same as in build as new. It's going to be less. It's going to be more than renovate.
Yeah.
And
We
for a plan-
have, if asked to provide some kind of further analysis like that, which obviously we would have to go back to Brian Humes. Do we have money in our budget to do that quickly? And I just want to be 100% responsive to the town bodies. If they're asking us for information, I want to be able to provide it for them as fast as our architect can do so. And I don't want us to be delaying things in any way. Are we prepared, Joe? Do we have money that we can do that quickly if need be?
We have adequate funds to perform any.
Thank you.
All right.
Right.
So the only other thing I would sort of be interested in when we're in this holding cycle a bit is if, you know, there seems to be a growing consensus that we want to move everybody out while we do the renovations. And if we do that, I'd be interested in knowing, you know, if there were any tweaks to the suggested floor plan. But I don't know, you know, if we run through all of our money with Brian or not. But, you know, it's a little bit easier to move few more walls if you're not you know, if you don't have anybody in there. And so that would be one thing I would like to take a look at.
Right, the design compromises or potential compromises that were made in order to keep the police staff in the building while construction was happening, could we undo some of those compromises to realize some of our more important design goals if we tell the architect that no, indeed, we're going to be moving people out, and is there some work to be done there?
Bill, I think that's a mischaracterization. It's the same. The design's the same whether you do it occupied or empty. So I don't think there were no compromises in the design made to do it occupied.
Okay,
That is a statement.
okay,
Okay.
thank you.
So there's one other point. I just want to circle back to the information we're waiting on, because I agree. I mean, we need to move this thing along and start making decisions. I think we've had multiple building committees. We've had 2 joint meetings with town council and the Board of Finance. We really have to advance the ball down the field. So with the option of not keeping the building where in its current location. So what I'm hearing is that's kind of the sine qua non here of moving forward, right? We need to know whether it's going to be where it is or somewhere else in town. Am I correct in that?
Correct.
Okay. So that's a decision, and that, I think needs to be made quite quickly, right? And then we can now figure out, and if it's not going to be anywhere else, then the next thing is, I think from a town council standpoint, because we've asked a lot of questions already and have had access to all the building committee people, options to be presented saying, here's package 1, here's package 2. And if there's any further questions, ask them. But at this point, the last 2 joint sessions that I attended, it's kind of the same questions are being asked. They've been answered, and now it just seems to be gravitating around the training facility. That's just my general sense of where the discussion is, and where the town council, I think, our role and what we kind of want to see now moving forward. So however we need to facilitate making the initial decision or the threshold decision of stay or move, I think that's something that can be done in the quicker fashion rather than being kicked out, to a later date sometime, early next year. That's my sense of it. So that's something I'll discuss with Steve Carl and Kevin and Todd, and whoever we need to chat with to at least get that decision out of the way, because I don't see us moving forward until that is decided one way or the other.
Well said, Michael.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, then I'll initiate those discussions, and we'll move forward from there. Okay.
Okay. So right now, I don't think the town bodies need anything from this building committee as far as incremental questions. We're prepared to answer them, and if it requires our architect's work, we'll be prepared to go to Brian Humes quickly to get the questions answered that come up, or any new ideas that the town wants us to pursue. And that's where we are. Any new biz? Anything else people want to discuss? So we're going to move the meetings to 8 o'clock going forward. Thank you.
Yes.
And anything else? There's a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank
care.
you. Merry Christmas.
Likewise.
Everybody, same. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.